Hello, I'm Patty Simpson with Simpson Math. In this video, we're going to look at a quick example of how to write a percent. We have a scenario here. It says at $450 per month, a student pays $5,400 a year in rent. If his annual income is $15,000, what percent of his income is spent on rent? Recall that a percent is just a fraction with 100 in the denominator. So the first thing we want to do is just write a fraction, and then we'll get the denominator down to 100 because that percent is just out of 100. So here in the question it says what percent of his income is spent on rent. So it tells me I need to make a fraction using his rent and his income. So I'm going to go back and look. Here I have $450 for his rent, but I also have $5,400 for his rent. This one is monthly and this one is yearly. So if I multiply this by 12 months, I would get that 5,400. Well, if I look at his income, it is also yearly. It's annual, so it's yearly. So I'm going to use my yearly rent and my yearly income. And I'm going to write a fraction. This is the piece out of that whole. So I have $5,400 of rent out of the total income of $15,000. So I've written a fraction there of his rent out of his income. Now, to show the percent, I just need this denominator to be equal to 100. So I'm going to simplify this fraction until my denominator is equal to 100. The first thing I'm going to do is divide, and 100 has two zeros. So I'm going to get rid of one of those zeros by dividing the top and bottom by 10. So I'm going to simplify by dividing by 10 over 10. Notice when I do that, the zeros here are going to divide out, and this is just a fancy 1. So I'm not changing my number in any way. So 10 goes into 5,400, 540 times. And 10 goes into 15,000, 1,500 times. Now, I'm going to continue to simplify this until I get down to 100. I want this to be equal to 100. Well, I'm going to divide. I could just divide by 15 over 15. But since I'm not using a calculator, I'm going to look, and I know that 5 goes into 15. And 5 will go into my top number as well. So I'm just going to divide the top and the bottom by 5. Again, I'm just dividing by a fancy 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So 5 goes into 500. Well, 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 40. It doesn't go into that 4, so I'm going to put a 0 there. But I have 4 left over. So now I'm doing 5 into the 40, which it goes in there 8 times. So if I multiplied 5 times 108, I would get 540. 5 goes in there 108 times. I'm going to do the same thing on bottom. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 5 goes into 0 0 times. And 5 goes into 0 0 times. So this 540 over 1,500 is equal to 108 over 300. I'm almost down to the 100. I just need to divide now to get this down to 100 by 3. So let's divide the top and the bottom again by that fancy 1. We're dividing by 3 over 3. So again, I'm going to use my little division where 3 doesn't go into 1, but 3 can go into 10 3 times with 1 left over. I'm going to put a little 1 here to let me know that there was 1 left over. Then 3 goes into 18 6 times. So 3 times 36 would give me 108. Or 108 divided by 3 is equal to 36. 3 goes into 300 100 times. This fraction is equal to that fraction. Now it's out of 100. So I can see the percent is just equal to 36%. Remember, all my percent is just a fraction out of 100, and my denominator of 100 just turns into my percent sign. So for every $100 that this person makes in income, they're spending $36 on rent. So 36% is the amount they're spending on rent. Math made simple at Simpson Math. Thanks for watching.